Down you come. Okay.
Scottish.
So that's the plan.
Yeah. And we have a completely clear route from the door of the tower to the set.
Now the reason all this barricading is to stop guys coming in with cans and bottles, just like for their safety and for everybody else's safety.
Have they started on that?
They have, yeah. They're going up on Saturday during the day. They'll be there then on Saturday morning.
Okay. I come from Derry, so I was being invited back to create something that the Derry people were going to perform to other Derry people about a symbol which represented exclusion to the majority of the population. So what was I doing? Why was this happening? And it took me a long while to get my brain around that. And I hadn't realised two things. One was that I was incredibly attached to my hometown, although I've been away for 20 years. I hadn't realised that it meant a lot to me. And also I hadn't realised how powerfully I felt about the events of the last 20 years. You think that you've got used to them, you've dealt with them, you found a way to live with them, but actually the feelings are incredibly powerful. And the central idea for the play was the idea of a young boy being shot on the walls. And I remember the day the designer and I had the idea, we both were almost shaking with the feeling because it tapped into some great reservoir of emotion attached to the last 20 years. And once we tapped that feeling, everything just flew, and it became, in many ways, the centre of it became a very serious piece of drama.
Noel, can I ring you back? Right, I'll ring you back. Right, okay. Right, bye.
Go and take that phone, we get this sorted out. Get off hold of me. So between 7 and 8:15 at night.
Right.
And the only fixed camera position for our documentary team and the same legal Tull Square. Now whatever anybody can pick up at after that without intruding on the performance in the square, that's a matter between themselves and
okay.
4,000 or 5,000 will be there.
Right.
But we're making no special arrangements for it.
No. Well, we can't really make the special arrangements.
No.
The arrangements have to be made by Sean Davey
Yeah.
and the Ulster Orchestra.
Right, yeah.
So
I have checked that situation out with the town clerk, with the mayor and with the chief officer.
Right.
And that situation's a fact. I just basically feel on Saturday night that what they should be saying to people, you know, Magazine Street should be free and easy, it should be open. Shipley Street should be certainly open to pedestrian traffic, you know, back of the Yaltull as much as possible. We don't want people coming and finding barriers where the night before they could have walked through it. As a community play, it's got to be seen in that context, and the company must understand that when you get yourself involved in community play, then you accept the challenges that go with that and the risks that go with that. The Weller's one of them, but you know, they're not in a conventional theatre space. There'll be balloons in the streets for youngsters, and we don't want to impinge on anybody's movement at all, and we should be asking people to try to help us, not to say you can't do this, can't do the other.
Right.
What's the weather forecast like, do you know?
Very good.
That's it.
Continental.
On the ball.
we'll be assembling or attempting to assemble 450 school children with teachers and parents up at the foot of Bishop Street, and that'll be the starting point for it. You can appreciate that 450 children to get into one area is going to be a bit of a hassle. We're hoping to have them assembled in Bishop Street sometime around about 9:45 that night. And we'll hope between 9:45 and 10:20 we hope to get all their lanterns lit, get them in rows of 8, 6 foot apart, so we can start off in an orderly fashion. What's going to happen at 10:20 is that we're going to get a radio signal by walkie-talkie, hopefully anyway, up to Bishop Street. And this will be to coincide with the end of the play. The procession is actually an integral part of the play. What will happen is from the off from Bishop Street, we proceed round the diamond and down to the foot of Shipley Street. And then this is where it gets really dicey, because what they're going to actually do and planning to do is to bring a white pony, a real one, actually from Union Hall Place round through Shipley Gate. Obviously somebody's leading this, poor thing. And what the director, Andy Hines, wants to happen as his play ends, the horse is led into the Guildhall Square, and he wants this lantern-lit procession representing, with the school children representing innocence and all the soft light, as an integral part of the whole feel of his play. At the end, the horse will go over to the stage. A child, which is again part of the play itself, will mount the horse. The horse will hopefully then be led on, and this procession of school children will lead out behind that again. And as well as that, all the mad and mank effigies that have been built by the Theatre of Fire will come in behind this, and at this point the fireworks will start to go off. So roughly around about 10:30 at night, the festival really gets in the swing. You can imagine that you're going to have this whole thing happening in the Guildhall Square with thousands of people there, with the fireworks zooming up into the sky at this point, the whole cast of the play with the whole choral work towards the end of it crescendo, and then this white horse and this big festival, all the procession and the school children with their lanterns moving down in a slow procession to culminate the whole night. So basically that's what's going to happen. Hopefully on the night all being well. It'll be alright in the night.
Yeah, don't break the line up. Little dwarf can't even speak, okay? And even tighter, James, if you can. They may still want, and be more worried about it. Okay.
What the Reverend means, sir, is that, it's just that we,
Hush, Tompkins! There's something urgent we must discuss in private. Very urgent.
You hold the present, Robert.
You want to
move first with frustration. Hush! It's the move and the thought of one. Okay, there's something urgent.
There's something urgent we must discuss in private. Very urgent.
You hold the present, Robert.
I must meet my young sister, gentlemen.
Patient, your sister, sir!
Yeah, well, a lot of people think there must be a huge difference between working with an amateur company and a professional, and perhaps there is, but what happens is you begin very quickly not to notice it because you adapt your imagination to what you're working with. And I was, I suppose, in a particularly fortunate situation in that I was writing the play as well as directing it, and that I was writing the play as we rehearsed. So again, without realising it, you begin to write for the people that you're working with, and you begin to include their strengths and write out any weaknesses that they might have. So it ends up being the same in the end.
Oh! I don't believe it. They sent me over 2 packs of Duracell batteries, which is going to save us about £140. Great. Well, we're going to put as many microphones onto the set as discreetly as we can to try and compensate, so that we're not totally reliant on the radio microphones. But I mean, you can't get any better. Those are the best branded microphones in the world. And to my knowledge, it's the first time in Ireland there's ever been so many Galler to Galler. Even Eurovision wouldn't have had 20 of them. So we're 20 altogether. So it's the first time, certainly first time in Ireland, but it's the first time outdoors, I'm sure, as well, that there's been such an array of stuff gathered together. So it should be interesting.
Right.
The idea is that when the community play's finished, it's going to run into a large pageant, a procession. So all of the stage and everything will be emptied, and the procession with the lanterns and all that will be going through the Guildhall Square. And as that becomes carnival, we want to make all around it silver as possible. It's a bit like baking a cake, you know. You spend hours and hours rigging everything, and it's all over in a few seconds. That's the name of the game.
It's not usually necessary to have this sort of a demonstration because fireworks are usually fired, say, in an open area like a park, or as happens in the city here from the foil. But in this case, they're being fired from the rooftops, from the Doherty Fort, and we thought it'd be best to have a look at them to see. And from what we've seen, we're satisfied that those that are static are being fired from a metal dish and they stay static. The ones that go up in the air, we're satisfied that any incendiary effect they might have will be spent before they land. So we're satisfied about that. That's just why we wanted to see them.
Our main problem at the moment is actually getting enough people from Derry to carry all the things that we've made. We've gone overboard on making a lot. We've had quite a lot of people from the city come and help us. We still could do with an awful lot more strapping young people to carry these processional pieces. What are you up to? Painting each other.
Have you finished painting my onion into a lemon?
We spent a long time looking and inquiring to see could we find just the chassis of a car with a running engine in it and brakes that worked. And we couldn't find one anywhere. We looked high and low, and none of the people in any of the garages could seem to help us out. They all said all the MOT failures went over the border and were sold over there. So eventually we contacted this guy who lives up in a mountain, and he got us a car, but it didn't have a battery in, so it wasn't charging. So we decided we'd call back for it on the Monday, and it was going to be 50 quid. So it was wonderful, we were delighted, and we went back on the Monday to collect it, and the brakes didn't work. So because it's so hilly in Derry, obviously that wasn't going to be any good for our purposes at all. So that evening, Nuala phoned us up and said that she had found somebody who had a car to sell in some housing estate. So we went off to visit him, and he said he couldn't get the car out of the pound, but he'd have it in the morning. So we said, what is it like? And he described it, and we thought, well, that sounds a bit familiar. So we went back up the next morning, and sure enough, it was the same car that we'd seen, except that we wanted 120 quid for it. And so we were wondering how he'd got the brakes to work. When we opened up the bonnet of the car, we saw that he had a monkey wrench attached to a bottle of brake fluid, and the pipe going into it so the brake fluid wouldn't leak out. And that was how the car was. And so we were kind of trying not to break our hearts laughing and pretending that we'd never seen it before in our lives, saying, oh, it's a bit too expensive for us and everything. So eventually we got this one.
The siege came about between King James and King William of Orange. King James he was in France with Louis XIV, I think it was, and he had to come over. King James was he came over here to conquer Ireland because he was a rightful king of England and Ireland. But the English Parliament, they wanted King William because he was a Protestant. So the siege, Ireland was all captured with King James except for Derry, and the citizens of Derry held out. They were mostly Protestants because they were scared of what would happen in case they were slaughtered by the Catholics. So that was where the siege happened. This is I think it's a 300th anniversary at now.
You couldn't ask him, could he go to Foyle Arts Centre? They check the computer.
The entire script for the play was typed onto the computer. There was one printout taken, and she can't get it up on the computer today. And it's not on the menu. I don't know what, but it happened. And it's not on disk, it's on the hard disk, yes. Well, it's automatically saved in the hard disk, but she got one printout yesterday, but she can't get it shown today. Okay, right then, Joanne, right bye. So much for computers, we might lose a script. Right, Tony? We reached a stage the week after Easter where I sort of went into Kevin McCall's office and I says, right, that's it, I've had enough, get another project coordinator. I can't take any more. There's just too much and there's not enough hours in the day for you to get the work done. And there was no support. You felt you were well isolated because you were the only one dealing with every element and nobody else seemed to recognise. And if they were, and say they were involved in a community play, they thought that the community play was the pageant, or if they were involved in the lantern end, they thought the lanterns was the pageant, or if they were involved in Magazine Street, they thought the large effigies was the pageant. And none of the people in Derry actually took on board the orchestral concert. That wasn't an issue that they even thought about. At stages there was comments that it has nothing to do with us, we're separate. But thankfully, within the last 3 weeks, they've taken on board that the pageant is the pageant, and the pageant includes the concert, the community play, the large effigies parade, the lantern procession, finishing off with the fireworks. So everybody, it took people a long time to take it on board. A lot of people started to debate it. Pageant, they didn't like the word pageant, but like what else do you call 5 major things? Pageant's a very good word to use if you have a lot of local involvement. And they're not, I sort of feel at this stage, the local involvement haven't been sort of thanked, although they're getting a lot out of it. They've said, some of the cast have said they really enjoy their rehearsals and all that. But I'm not too sure if I was in their shoes that I would enjoy it, because they're going home at night and they're exhausted. I'm working and I'm paid for it, and I actually was griping the week after Easter to say, no, I can't, I've had enough, I can't do anymore. I don't want involved.
Can a few of you go up onto that platform? You don't want too many on the one. Go on up, yeah, Cameron. Okay.
No, that's not group one. Group one's back there.
No. The Jones Amblers are standing down there.
This initial bit through painlessly. There is group 4, too deep on the steps the way they were in the hall.
Okay, can group 4 get into
group
position?
4.
Should we have to walk down steps?
Tomorrow night, chorus on set at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow night, chorus on set at 7 o'clock.
Costume?
It doesn't say that, but it possibly might be. Full cast, O'Doherty Tower, 7:15 on Thursday. Full cast, 7:15.
So, could you just go to your starting positions, please? And look at that wonderful full-sailed ship in all its glory.
The ship's arrived from England! The news breaks fast home for time!
Well, last night was really encouraging. It was the first time we were on set, and we ran almost half the play, almost without a hiccup, with the women in long skirts on the scaffolding, even before a lot of the extra barriers and everything were up. And everyone got a great buzz, so I'm delighted. Yeah, I think we're absolutely on course.
A great ship is pressing towards the land!
looking after you in the night. Thank you very much and good luck.
Derry doesn't have a single tourist event at all, really. People come to the city generally throughout the year and visit the walls or visit St Colum's Cathedral or whatever new events are being planned, but it doesn't have a single tourist event. And I think this is going to be the first tourist event it actually has. And it also has that serious community element, that it is coming to terms with history, and I think it will have a healing effect throughout Derry.
This is a shared history. This has helped to form all of us, one way or another, and 300 years on, we can look at it afresh. Surely we can look at it afresh and celebrate it together and commemorate it together.
I don't think the pageant, some people have criticised this pageant as being a carnival aspect, and maybe on the Protestant side rejected because it's not serious enough or it's not political enough, and therefore it's demeaning the whole history of the Protestant tradition. But I think that's not the case. I think it's been done in a respectful way.
It's by time that the whole poison of that sort of history was drawn out. And this is a way to draw out the poison and to allow us to ease whatever tensions there are between us, and at the same time to look. I mean, I think what's really good about this is that it does force people to think about and to debate and discuss exactly the questions that you're asking there, you know. I think that's really healthy. Do not all agree, well, so what?
I think after 5 years, after a lot of the knocks from both sides, I think to actually see something actually happening, and I'm not saying tomorrow even it's going to be successful, but I'm certainly hoping it's going to be successful, and that after tomorrow it's going to continue year on year out with different emphasis and different all sorts of elements combined, and I think hopefully it'll end up like some sort of late Mardi Gras or early Halloween.
I knew it was good. I thought it was probably the best thing I'd ever written. Now having heard it, I know it is, and I'm delighted I've written it for Derry. We had the problem that the music was to be played in the Guildhall, which is the right place for the music, but unfortunately it's the wrong place for the audience because it has a small, if the work is written for the people of Derry, then you cannot present it the entire evening to only 500 of them or whatever. So we were bending over backwards trying to think of technological ways of getting over the problem and having big screens in the Guildhall which cost a fortune. We're going to have fireworks incorporated on the river and things like that. It would have turned into a logistical nightmare, and we might not have pulled it off, and it would certainly have been very costly, and probably would have been the wrong way to go about things. This gives everybody a chance to succeed in their own area, and to really to create a night in which many things happen, but each thing has a very good chance of succeeding. I feel it's the best thing I've written to date. I'm very excited today about hearing it with everybody, at the one time.
The orchestral concert's going to be beautiful in the Guildhall on site on Saturday night. I mean, I don't have any doubt it's going to be beautiful. But the Guildhall will hold 400 people. And that's what we have faced for the past 10 years. Say, how does a local authority involved in public subsidies engage its people in arts and culture? So outdoor programmes, without them, then we could well become that elitist service which arts has been labelled in different parts of the world. So, if you like, this production, it's the start of something. It's a milestone here, it's a watershed. It's Derry starting to diminish as a receiver and to flourish as a producer. My only interest, my main interest in arts as a tool of regeneration, personal development, community development, to establish this city as a regional or a national profile. new opportunities, new experiences for the people in the city. That's my particular interest in it. But I mean, there's a great buzz in the city at the present time, great deal of pride, morale and confidence. And this is what it's about. It's about breaking new ground. It's uncharted territory for us. We're taking a lot of risks. We know that. We'll be taking risks for 15 years. But then you see, you're not taking them at all. Then you're only second. And there's no future for this city being second anywhere. And I basically have no interest in it. I mean, to some extent, this whole pageant thing has been traumatic. The old machine is shook and rattled. They weren't used to it, you know. But we've had that for 15 years. But I mean, I'm working for a local authority with quite a degree of vision. And I mean, you know, they just don't have one function. They have any competing demands. But they tend to go on track record. And across the ground, we're getting tremendous support. But you take Andy Hines' achievement, for example, in the motivation, where he has, over a period of 7 weeks, including the Easter holidays, 6 days a week, 75 people in rehearsals. That must be some sort of vote of confidence and consensus.
Straight through there. When the last... What's inside? When the last of the lantern procession goes, we join the parade. Choirs, actors in costume. The City of Derry Pageant.
I'm thinking back, at the moment I'm thinking back 18 months when I started the thing. And I must tell you that when I first sat down to write it, I did 3 months research, and 3 months, for 3 months I couldn't write it because I didn't know how to handle this subject. It's a depressing subject, the siege. And I finally cracked it when I realised that in fact the people of Derry and the people from the south who were with James II were really victims. They were victims and of a power struggle that was imposed upon them by William and James. And once I realised that, I thought that the way to approach it really was tell the story, which I had to do. I had to narrate the history of the siege, but also tell it in terms of sympathy and respect for the people who were caught up in events not of their own making. Once I realised that, which I think is the central point of the Siege of Derry, it was much easier to write the piece of music. So from that moment for the last 18 months, it's been a lot. When I've worked hard, you know, at home writing the thing. Then of course the music has to be copied by a copyist. All these million notes have to be copied. The parts made up, put in front of the orchestra. Finally, we started rehearsing 10 days ago. The thing was read through. I'd never heard it up till then. The thing had lain fallow for 6 months because I finished it last June. That was a very exciting moment to hear the first notes being played.
I wrote the play holding Sean Davies' Relief of Derry Symphony very much in mind, because I had a synthesised version of the piece of several weeks before I started writing, and the one idea I had for the play was that I was going to use the symbol of the white horse as its the central image. Now, the white horse was a vision which the garrison during the siege you said they saw in the sky every night at midnight. There's a white horse with an angel on it. They said it circled the city when they were at their in the most extreme circumstances, and gave them hope and courage to go on. It took me actually more time and energy, I think, to pluck up the nerve to write it than it required energy to actually do it. And I made one big false start. I started to write it in a particular style before I was sufficiently familiar with the company, and I realised that it simply didn't suit and wasn't going to work. And this was 5 weeks before we were due to go on stage. So I just went right back to the beginning, immediately started again, and then everything rolled quite smoothly after that.
On Raglan Road of an autumn day, I saw her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare, that I might one day rue. I saw the dangers and I passed along the enchanted way, and I said, let grief be a fallen leaf at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we tripped lightly along the ledge of a deep ravine where can be seen the worth of a passion play, the queen of a heart still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I loved too much, and by such is happiness gone away.
Really, I'm going for scare Marion.
What's the matter?
Marion might be one. Try and catch her. Just go straight forward and dive in and grab, let her pull, and that'll be her. That'll get you through that scene, no problem. So we all get through it. 3 minutes, we better go down.
The lines?
Yeah.
And cut with the lines?
Yeah, but keep it very strong, and quick, because we'll really be going sharp. It'll be over before we even know what's happening.
Everybody, on stage.
Right down. Come on down now.
This is my good wife, Agnes.
You are welcome.
Shut the gates! Shut the gates of the city!
Get up, you Irish sloth! I want my sword repaired!
There he is on the walls!
Father! Gabriel, come to me, my boy! Father! Come here,
You will not stand in the way of my plans for a moment?
I really won't.
You truly promise?
I truly do.
All right. What is it that can help you?
You are cordially invited to be King of England.
James has raised an army of 100,000 strong.
Aye, every one of them are Catholic!
Father, I have
taken my husband from me. Reduced him to a mockery of a man, I will not forgive them! Never! Never!
Calm yourself. Shut the gates!
Shut the gates! Shut the gates! Shut the gates!
What man, Kathleen? What man?
Leave him! I'll stay. I want to. Martha, run quickly to Lady Savile's. Tell Agnes to come here quickly.
We will stay to fight for religion, for liberty, and for good King William!
Tell them I haven't stopped loving either of them. To try to forgive me.
He has taken my daughter from me. I have never seen her. Where's my son? He's all that's left of me. Get him for me. Gabriel!
I'm here, Father. I'm here.
Come to me, boy.
What's wrong, Father?
I bore him.
Agnes has for you all the love and warmth that I withheld.